Yeah, Midnight Preseason is hit and miss, for me at least. So let's check out what I did with level 90. First things first. As already mentioned in the previous section, turning level 90 unlocks basically the game. And if I say unlocks, I mean it floods you. Suddenly you get swarmed with possible activities, quests in various forms, ranging from weeklies, the blue ones, important ones, the purple triangles, world quests, the new hunt features, higher delves, and world events. As a new player, I'd be overwhelmed. Even as a returning one, I struggled for a bit. It feels like you have to do everything at once. But to Blizzard's credit, that's a community made perception on one side, and on the other side, it's simply lingering memories to a foregone era where you had to do certain things in order to acquire certain power levels. These times are thankfully long gone, and after a quick mindset adjustment in the tavern with my buddy, I was back on top. The first thing I wanted to check out was the new hunt feature. Supposedly, it should make the world a more scary place, which kind of worked? Yes? No? Maybe? I don't know. For me personally, it was just another fill the bar without seeing a bar. Instead, you have this crystal turning more and more red, and the closer you get to your target. Now, this section sounded worse than it actually is. I don't mind this system. It was a good way to get started. Basically, you pick a target that's located in a zone. Every activity you do in this zone, like an event, killing mobs, or world quests, have a chance to trigger an attack of your target. If you can play your character, these encounters are not super difficult, but I can see people taking it a bit slower in case they get ambushed. I did a few world quests and decided to try out the world event within the Void Storm. Sadly, I had no clue what to do. And also the game doesn't really tell you much. I was supposed to place defenses with currencies I did not have yet, but the event was coming up, so I had no chance of acquiring them. Yeah. The event itself is just a case of defending a nexus against numerous waves of enemies. After giving it a shot on my quite low populated server, I said fuck this and joined a full stack of 40 people via the group finder. With them, I breezed through the event, basically AFKing like half the other people in the group. Even though I had to do it two times, maybe as a punishment for my AFKing, as for some reason the first one did not count. I don't know why. Finishing up an event rewards you with a pinnacle chest. These were quite important, as the first two each week provide you with a higher level item, which will increase as the season starts, to my knowledge. I continued doing some activities in the zone until finally it was time to ambush my hunt target. Dispatching of him was quite easy as it was just normal mode, but now I had unlocked the harder version of this system. Even though it's not that much harder, the main difference is that you actually lose progress on the hunt if you die. Again, for the first two hunts you do each week on each difficulty, which is important, you're again rewarded with a higher level item. So in summary, 4. 2 from normal, 2 from hard mode. I was kinda lucky as I looted an epic weapon on my first hard mode hunt. In retrospective, what shall I say about this feature? It's definitely not bad, but it's not amazing either. There is another difficulty coming up called Nightmare, so I'm curious whether this will actually provide experienced players like myself with a challenge and some level of excitement while being in the open world. Speaking of the open world, what is actually there? As already mentioned, world quests. For me, these are also kind of hit and miss. There are cool ones like crashing into some mobs while flying, preparing a feast, and quite difficult puzzles. I was really. I thought I was dumb, to be honest. Others are just like kill amount X, standard stuff, and also my personally dread the taking a picture ones. God! I don't know. I never liked this whole world quest feature. If it was up to me, I'd rather have daily quests come back. And these kinda high level hubs, like the Burning Front from Cataclysm. But again, that's just my personal taste and how I feel about the system. Again, it's not terribly bad, and some quests are really funny, like I mentioned, while others are kinda annoying. One thing I really dislike, however, is this eradication of whole villages for a world quest without any explanation. I had this moment where I was supposed to kill some Furlborgish like kinda dudes in their village, and honestly, there was no context, no reason, nothing. Maybe in a side quest you will actually unravel their hidden corruption or something like that and why they deserve their fate. But just from the world quest itself, honestly, I didn't feel like the good guy here. Next up on our open world tour are the zone events. Each zone has a particular event, like the already mentioned Voidstorm Tower Defense like-ish event. For me, sadly, these are actually a step back in quality. The Dragonflight events were simply funny, at least most of them. The War Within ones were a bit less funny and more and wanted to be more exciting, with this really annoying one in the Arathi zone. But apart from that, they were, yeah, quite okay. I didn't mind doing them. But the ones in Midnight? I don't know. The one I enjoyed the most, I think, was the Harrender one. But writing and recording this, I honestly couldn't really remember what it was about exactly. I only remember being a mushroom, and that was quite funny. But there is this one I absolutely detest, and that's the abandoned life one. I don't know what to say there really. Either I'm too stupid to understand what's going on, or I don't know, it's just suck suck? Is is that it? I don't know. It's such a weird event. So yeah, I do these events because of the box or if a quest tells me to do, but apart from that, I don't see myself just hopping on there just for the fun of it. Okay, so next on our list are the various treasures, exploration achievements, and collectibles. That's a solid system. It always has been, and again, there is plenty to explore and to collect in every zone. I can't really say anything about it apart from that without an add on like handy notes, I personally feel like some of these treasures are simply not possible to finish for the average player, and that's a bit sad in my opinion. Maybe Blizzard will eventually rein it back in a bit, like similar like they did with Weak Auras, in order to try to ban some add-ons to not make these treasures so complicated and therefore having people without an add-on actually having a chance of finishing them. But I don't know. Maybe that's just the way it is and I'm just stupid, but I couldn't find some of these secrets on my own. I have to be honest there. Well, of course, there are quests. Yeah, I haven't done any at max level yet, apart from the continuation of the campaign, which was more of the same. I simply did not have the time, and due to my focus on gearing up as much as possible for the upcoming Mythic Plus season, it wasn't a priority. It wasn't a priority for me. However, I eventually want to finish every side quest on the continent, both for the usually very good story and also for the achievement and for renown, which is the next topic. With most of these activities, you earn a kind of reputation for the main faction in each zone called renown. all of them reward you with a nice 246 eye level item at around renown 8 or 9, depending on the faction, which is not that hard to unlock. I currently have 2 out of 4 of these items, with the third one already in reach. Okay, so now that's basically all of the gameplay features we have in the open world. As mentioned, for me personally, it's a mixed bag. I enjoyed my time in this beautiful world. Again, I have to say, art department, you did an amazing thing. And gearing up within this world. Of course, there are also professions, but I haven't yet had the time to fully get into those, apart from the fact that it's so complicated. I don't think I'll ever be on really a point where I can make legit money with anything else but farm professions like skinning or herbalism. I did a few things for skinning, but so far I haven't made a single skill point in my leatherworking profession. Haven't talked about everything in the open world. Let's head over to the instance content. First of all, there are delves. Instant little dungeons without big rewards in the preseason, but fun to complete, especially on the low gear level. I was a bit sad that it kept out at level 7. I would love to bash my head against some hard solo content. I did a lot of them, not all of them. Most of them I actually did while leveling, and I only did like 2 or 3 to level up the difficulty level. Especially the one in Silver Moon was quite fast, so I just stuck with it. And yeah, they change each week, and it's a nice piece of solo content. The last available instanced content are, of course, the 8 new Midnight Dungeons. For normal and heroic, you can queue via the Dungeon Finder, which is honestly quite pointless at level 90, because most importantly, these dungeons are available in their Mythic Zero option for really good eye level 240 drops. What can I say? Blizzard just knows how to design dungeons. I mean, look at this. I did all the 8 M0s in both weeks with a roster of 4 friends of mine. And since 4 of us 5 were leather wearers, there was a lot of trading items around, which was nice. I don't know what to say. The dungeons are really cool. My personal favorite being the Magistus Terrace, and my least favorite one probably being the Den of Nelorak, which is, however, still a good dungeon. Just not as good as the other ones, in my opinion. I'm really curious about the various routes. They weren't difficult for a full stack of pre-made players with experience in their zero variant, but there are quite a few packs and pulls that do have the potentials to be real cock blockers later in M+. Okay, I've talked a lot about the various gameplay features now, but what about the gameplay itself? The big highlight of WoW Retail is the combat system. There is simply no other MMO out there with this kind of polished and fluid combat system. If you can play your character and use the provided abilities, they tie into each other with such precision that blasting everything into an enemy feels unbelievably rewarding. However, it is very action heavy and fast paced. I had more than one moment where I was a bit tired, messed up my rotation here and there, and it showed on the damage meter, which in my opinion is a good thing as this system rewards excellent and punishes failure. But talking about gameplay, there are also I don't know how to say, these weird frictions I feel, and I know other people do as well. I don't want to end on a low note here, but I want to mention this. Midnight Story feels gritty, but on the same hand, the environment feels really cartoonish and childish. I know the Warcraft style was always cartoonish, but this looks more like a Disney movie at certain point. Also, the dialogues, at least in the main campaign, sometimes feel like a cliche. It's so sad. It doesn't feel like this gritty world it wants to transport. Also, on some of the quests, you see your followers literally having their life force ripped out of their bodies to empower weapons. And in this cartoonish and childish Disney-like style WoW has now, it doesn't transport its dark message. I don't know. It just it is this that it has this friction, and I know for a fact that it's not just me that feel this way. There's also this stark contrast between this amazing hardcore skill based gameplay, which is rewarded by eye level 240 gear in M0s. And after that, you do a stupid ass world quest while not even looking at the monitor, just running around and making photos of some enemies around you. And you get rewarded by just a slightly lower item level item? I don't know. It just doesn't feel good. And I know it's just the preseason and everything changed with the season start. But it is this contrast. I can't put my finger around it exactly, but there is something that feels off for me. I'm excited about Mythic Plus releasing, but mainly because I'm excited to play with my friends again. I want to say this. I don't just want to bash Midnight here. I really like some of the changes and the direction WoW is heading into. I love the idea of having more than one raid zone, for example, even though it's annoying for the hardcore characters and hardcore raiders since they have a long progression period. For everybody else, it means that there is variety. No matter how great a raid is, at a certain point you have seen enough of it. And having 3 raid zones to choose from in one tier is a great opportunity, especially if one raid is harder than the other. So you can A, gear up, and B, also have a sense of accomplishment, actually finishing one of those easier raids. To be honest, if I wouldn't have a guild in TBC, I would most likely try to get into one in retail at this point. Okay, to sum it up, what can I say about my experiences with Midnight during the pre-patch? If you don't like retail, that's fine. There won't be enough changes to bring you back. However, I do like some parts of retail. The dungeons and the gameplay. In that regard, I had fun in the preseason. And anything else? I didn't have to do. And that's great. If I could give you any advice, it would be not to brainlessly gobble everything up. Yes, I want to do the quests, but I didn't have time yet. Why just blast through a content I know I will enjoy eventually just to have it done? There are things like the zone events and some of the world quests that I don't particularly like, but that's okay. I will eventually outgrow them. That's fine. Play at the pace and the content you enjoy. If you don't want to raid or push M+, don't force yourself into this eye-level grind just because the community says this is the optimal way of playing. It's an MMO. You can play however you like. If you want to go do a dungeon, go ahead. If you want to do a quick BG in between, fine. I actually did some PvP in between because I got a quest for it. And yes, having something to do which I normally won't was fun. It was okay. There is no need for your gameplay to evolve around anything else than your own preference and playstyle. And that's a good thing. Something we have actually lost for quite a long time. And now that it came back during Dragonflight, I feel like people are too entrenched in this modern min-maxing meta that they yell for more content while having done basically nothing the game has to offer apart from 8 Mythic Zero dungeons each week. Which is exactly the reason why Blizzard put in so much mandatory borrowed power content. Please let's not go back there. For my part, I'm excited about the new season, as I said, mainly because I can play with my friends again, even though there is this feeling of repetition. Midnight is the second part of the World Soul saga. The World Soul saga and its 3 entries won't have huge major changes in between. At least that's the way I feel like. I hope it doesn't turn into fatigue. Because even though I criticize some aspects of the game, like as mentioned, zone events, world quests, and this cartoonish and almost childish way of presenting its world, WoW is still a good game. And Midnight didn't change that. It didn't improve on it either, in my opinion. But it's not a bad game. So, that was how I feel and I experienced the 2 weeks of preseason in World of Warcraft Midnight. I enjoyed them. There are things, as mentioned, I didn't particularly enjoy, but having played one day in the season already, most of these things, as expected, turned out to be not that big of a deal. I want to make a video next about things I think could improve World of Warcraft, but on the same hand, I'm just a player, I'm not a game designer. And again, if you enjoy something, don't let somebody else ruin it. So even if I criticized something you enjoyed, for example, the graphics and the Disney-esque, I don't know how else to put it, way of presenting the world, that's fine. It's just the way I feel. And if you don't, let's agree on that. Okay, this video was long enough and I'm excited about continuing this little video blog. And next up, we will have my experiences with the season start. So, thank you.